First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Mukha Kodash. I'd then like to give double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for preaching this doctrine in sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect. This is the brother Isaiah coming back to you with a video titled Proof of Reincarnation. We start this video today in Matthew chapter 11, starting at verse 7. And says, As he departed, Yahushua began to say unto the multitudes concerning John, What went ye out in the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. But what went ye out to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. For this is he, of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of woman, there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come. He that had ears to hear, let him hear. And I'd like to read verse 14 in the NLT. And if you are willing to accept what I say, he is Elijah, the one the prophet said would come. Then we jump into John chapter 1, verses 21 to 23. I'll start at 19. And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, Who art thou? And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not the Hamashiach. And when they asked him, What then? Art thou Elijah? He said, I am not. Art thou that prophet? He answered, No. Then he said unto him, Who art thou? That we may give an answer to them that sent us. What sayest thou of thyself? He said, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness, Make straight the way of the Lord, as said the prophet Isaiah. Now, those two scriptures which I just brought out for you all there, it implies two things. One, that as Yahushua said in Matthew chapter 11 from verse 7 to 15, that John the Baptist was Elijah or is Elijah in a different incarnation. Then John chapter 1 from verses 19 to 23, it states here that Elijah or John the Baptist didn't know he was Elijah in a previous incarnation, because when we come back to the earth, we don't have remembrance of our former selves. We have no clue what we did in our past lives. To prove this, I like to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1 start at verse 9. The thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had already it had been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So John the Baptist had no clue that he was the prophet Elijah in his former life. That's why when they asked him, he clearly said no, he had no clue he was the prophet Elijah. But the Awashai confirmed to us because he knew. Now I'd like to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verses 16. So before we come back to it, matter of fact, I'll go to 12 first. Right, so before we come to it, we are in heaven with the Father Yahweh. We are in heaven with our Father Yahweh. And He sends us here to receive judgment for things we might have done in our past life, in former lives. So that's why it's important to be humble. Because we don't know what the depths of the shit we might have done in real life before we come here. That's why they sit down and see some babies being born with disabilities or some form of sickness or with drug addict parents or in a hard life because they come back here to face judgment for things they have done in a former life. But as it says here in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7, then shall the dust return to earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto power who gave it. So that proves that when we die, we go up to heaven with the Father. There's no such thing as they die and they go to hell and none of that bullshit. Proving, going to Jeremiah chapter 1. Start at verses 4. Then the word of power came. Then the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto nations. So, let's prove in here that one, He knows us before He sends us back here to earth because we are up there with Him when we die. And two, we have already received or are going to not receive. We are going to receive judgment when we are sent back to earth, and there's no mistake about it. We're going to do exactly what we are put here to do. So if we come here to live out our life for wickedness, what we're doing, but not live out our life for wickedness. If we come here to face judgment for wickedness, that we did in our past life, that's what we come here. That's what we're gonna do. If we come here to get a reward for righteousness, what we have done in our past life, that's what we come for. There's no mistake about it. I'll go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. That is earth. The place under the sun is earth. So when we die and we get sent for judgment, it's on earth we coming back to serve the judgment. Now, so no such thing as hell. I'll go down all the way to chapter 20. All go on to one place. That's everyone. All have one dust and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of the man? Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward and the spirit of beast that goeth downward in the earth? So animals does not go to heaven with Yahweh when they die because them in the perfect order, them doing all that they're supposed to do. Us, however, we go up there to get our judgment from Yahweh, and then He sends us back here to live out our judgment. And I'll go to Daniel chapter 12, verses 13. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of days. So when you come back from heaven, where the Father was, when you come back after the Father sent you back from heaven unto earth, you're going to stand in the perfect lot. When you die, you're coming back right here to serve your perfect lot. If you're a wicked man in your past life, you're going to get a judgment for that when you come back again. If you're righteous, you're going to get a judgment for that when you come back again. As I will prove in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, start at verse 15. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will power bring with him. For this we say unto you by word of Yahweh, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of Yahushua shall not prevent them which are asleep. For Yahushua himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, with the trump of power, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahushua in the air, and so shall we ever be with Yahushua. Now this talking about the coming of Christ and we're going to take place. The coming of Hamashiach and we're going to take place when He descends from the heavens. But if you realize here, this is one of the apostles talking here. Was preaching the word of Christ. If you realize in chapter 15 he said, for this we say unto you by the word of Yahushua, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of Yahushua shall not prevent them which are asleep. Well, there is no man alive today that is 2,000 years old, because Yahushua Mashiach was here 2,000 years ago. Roughly 2,000 years ago, maybe a little bit more. But there is no one alive today who's 2,000 years old. So what he means here when he says, for this we say unto you by the word of Yahushua, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of Yahushua shall not prevent them which are asleep. Well, this talking about reincarnation here, because they knew that they wouldn't live 2,000 years, but they will be on the earth when Yahushua coming back. How that could be possible? Reincarnation. We went through several stages of reincarnation, several different lifetimes, and now they're back on the earth now, awaiting the coming of a Mashiach. That is what they're talking about here. Now I like to go to Exodus chapter 34, verse 7. Exodus chapter 34 verse 7, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon their children and upon the children's children, unto the third and to the fourth generation. So what do I mean by this? Well, when you come and you live your life on earth, when you come and you live your life on earth, and then you go back for judgment, the reincarnation cycle will typically take 3 to 4 generations, which is 75 to 100 years. It take 3 to 4 generations, which is 75 to 100 years, so you have to wait 75 to 100 years for it to come back. And in Ezekiel chapter 18 verses 28 it says, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon them, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon them. So this stating here that even though it says it visiting the, let's now go back to Exodus chapter 34 verse 7. Even though it says keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the third and the fourth generation. That is what taking place there. When you the third and the fourth generation, that is when you will come back. That is when you will come to serve your judgment for the things you did in the past life. Because as it clearly states in Ezekiel chapter 18 verse 20, your son or your children's children, your son, your daughters, none of them will serve or be judged for the sins that you commit. That is for you to do. And I go prove this in chapter, because some people go use, I'll prove this in the book of 2 Kings chapter 10. I'll just get straight to the point in verse 30. And Yahweh said unto Jehu, because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart, thy children of the fourth generation shall sit on the throne of Israel. So you know what he do there? Long story short, he did gather all the believers of Baal in Israel, and he did set up to kill all of them, and he did kill all of them. And for doing that righteous act in the Lord's eyes, he said he would have blessed him, and say he would have blessed Jehu's children of the fourth generation. But how that profit in Jehu? Jehu most likely would have been dead by the time his children in the fourth generation comes. So what is the profit for Jehu to get there? It's because Jehu would have come back in another lifetime and sit on the throne. He'd have be the king of Israel in the fourth generation. That's what that was about. And some people might contradict what I'm now saying there and go to Genesis chapter 9. And they will come here, they will say, this one. I'll start from chapter 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth. and Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be an husbandman, and he planted a vineyard. And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without. And Shem and Ham took a garment and laid it upon their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servant shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh Bashan, Yahweh Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And power shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So, it's stating here that Canaan, the son of Ham, was going to suffer or get judgment for what he, or did suffer and get judgment for what his father did do. So how could that be if in Ezekiel chapter 18, the 20th verse say the fathers don't suffer, the sons not going to suffer for the wickedness of the fathers, and the fathers don't suffer for the wickedness of the son? Well, if you read earlier in Genesis, in the first verse, it says, And power blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and replenish the earth. So for the why Noah went and cursed Canaan to be a servant of servants, and cursed Canaan, but then cursed Ham because he couldn't. The Most High had already blessed Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Noah couldn't get to Ham, for lack of a better word. He couldn't bestow judgment upon Ham for the wickedness what Ham do. So in order to get to Ham, he used Canaan. So he cursed Canaan. So when the reincarnation cycle will take place, Ham would have live out the judgment for the shit we did do there. Ham would have live out the judgment for the shit he do. And so because he couldn't directly curse Ham, he cursed his son, because even they did understand reincarnation, so you know eventually Ham would have come back and live out that curse. That is why he cursed Canaan. Because he couldn't curse Ham, and so Ham could have still get judgment for the wickedness what he did. Lord's well, I hope this was an edifying video. Shalom.